Hello everyone. I know it's been a while since you've heard from me, and honestly, after all the negative attention I received from the interview video and subsequent videos that came after it, I was debating on if I should return to the public and even make a video, but I decided since it's already out there and I'm already going to receive negative attention as is, I might as well reintroduce myself, address it, and hopefully clear up some of the assumptions and different things that I really didn't get a chance to cover in the interview video. So before I get into some of the topics that I wanted to clarify, let me go ahead and reintroduce myself. My name is Brooke, and I'm a practicing Demonolater. I am a follower of Gushin, and I have been working with him for around 7 years now, though I only took the title of Demonolater around 3 years ago now. My practice mainly consists of meditation, yoga, and energy work, and I would just like to note here that that does not make meditation, yoga, or energy work demonic in any way. It's been in use for thousands of years in Eastern traditions, but it's what I choose to use and what many demonolators choose to use so that we can actually connect, commune, and hear as well as eventually see the entities we work with. I also would like to clarify that this doesn't mean I don't do ritual work, it's just that the main focus of my practice is not ritual work. This varies from Demonolater to Demonolater and is largely influenced by the actual entities they choose to work with and how those entities want them to practice. In my case, Gushin has mainly pushed me to do energy work, meditation, and yoga to improve my astral senses so that I can communicate with him and entities like him easier, as well as to help others, especially when they encounter negative entities. By negative entities, I mean lower-level entities that feed on humans, and they normally feed on fear and negativity, but that's one of the topics I wanted to discuss, so I'll get more into that later. I probably do ritual work about 3 to 4 times out of the year, mostly centered around pagan holidays such as Beltane, Samhain, and Yule. I also do ritual work on special occasions as well as on an as-needed basis, usually related to helping people rid themselves of negative entities, cleansing homes, placing protection spells, and helping people heal from emotional and physical wounds. The last thing I wanted to clarify before I move into some of the other topics that I wanted to discuss with you guys is the difference between demonolatry and demonology. I know they sound the same, but they are very different. Demonolatry is the actual worship of demons, and anything that has the olatry following it means the worship of. Demonology, on the other hand, means the study of demons, and anything that ends with ology also means the study of something. While demonolaters work with, worship, and commune with demons, demonologists, on the other hand, generally do not. Most of them usually are only studying ancient tomes written about demons, and they generally do not actually interact with or do rituals with demons. Now that I've reintroduced myself and clarified a couple of things about my practice as well as clarified the difference between demonolaters and demonologists, I'd like to get into some of the other topics I wanted to discuss with you guys. The first thing I'd like to address is the claims that I'm doing this for attention or fame, which is just simply not the case. If you take a quick scroll through any of the video's comments, you'll quickly see that most of the comments were extremely negative. There were some seriously vile comments filled with hate, cursing me, hoping I get damned to hell, and numerous other things. People even sent me death threats, so I'm not really sure who in their right mind would want this kind of attention or would think that this would be the way to go to get attention or fame. Not to say that I haven't received some positive comments or some positive attention. I've connected with probably a dozen people and had about 100 or so people follow me, but that is very minimal compared to the thousands of comments that were just downright aggressively hateful, for lack of better terminology. As a side note here, since I've mentioned that it was dangerous for me to actually come out in public with this, I'd just like to note, because some people were like, oh, if she's doing so good, then why doesn't she tell us what job she's working at? And that is for my safety. I do not want people coming to my job and harassing me or basically outing me to my company, because many people seriously would. As another note here, people were very judgmental of my body movements, hand movements, and general anxiety that I displayed throughout the interview videos, so I just wanted to clarify that I do have generalized anxiety as well as social anxiety, but I've had those all my life, well before I ever started working with Gushin. If you look up the actions of someone who has anxiety, most of what I did can clearly be attributed to that, and who can really blame me for being so anxious considering I had strangers in my house, I had no idea how they were going to react to what I was telling them, and I also realized that I was going to get a lot of hate for coming public and just talking about my practices. I will mention, however, that my hand movements and general body movements is pretty standard of me. My whole family is pretty much like that, so I guess most people would call it quirky or whatever, but that's just kind of how I am. The next thing I would like to get into is the claims that I only work with demons because of a lack of support or love from friends and family, which is just simply not the case. Contrary to these claims, I have a very loving and involved family as well as friends who have all known me for years before I even started to practice. I think it's important to note here that they all know what I do and actually support it. They've seen nothing but positive growth in my mental, physical, and spiritual health since I started to practice, so they really have no reason to dislike what I do. The couple of people that I mentioned in the interview that I'm no longer friends with because they didn't like my practice were actually very negative people and negative influences in my life in general. They really didn't take the time to understand my practice because they simply did not care to. They really didn't seem to care about anyone but themselves, and so anytime that I would have something positive happen, especially anything related to my practice, they would pretty much just write me off and throw me under the bus as much as possible so that they could feel better about themselves. So in general, they were pretty toxic to my life, and they weren't good to have around if I was trying to be healthy mentally. My other friends, on the other hand, have been extremely supportive, and some of them even get involved, which is really cool. And at the very least, even if they don't believe how I do, or they don't quite understand what I'm talking about, they at least let me talk to them about it, which is very nice because then sometimes I can get a different point of view from someone who has different beliefs than me. Which in my practice is extremely important to hear other perspectives because it can help you see a different point of view, which is why I really enjoy talking to my friends and family about what I do. I think I mentioned in the interview that my family is Catholic, though they are pretty kind and open-minded at the same time. So it's been very interesting over the years to talk with them about my beliefs and practices. We've gotten into some very in-depth conversations about spirituality and religion. It's very interesting to me to see how my beliefs and their beliefs contrast as well as how they are similar. The next topic I wanted to get into is the people questioning how I know Gushin isn't misleading me or basically waiting to pounce on me when the moment is right. As I touched on before, Gushin is actually the one who encouraged me to abandon my biases and reach out to the Creator. If his intent was to lead me astray from the Creator, I don't get why he would do so. You would think he would work hard to discourage me from reaching out to the Creator and prey upon the already negative beliefs I had regarding the subject. The first reason I don't believe Gushin is just waiting for the right moment to pounce on me is because he had plenty of chance to already do so. When I met Gushin, I was in an abusive and toxic relationship. Prior to this relationship, my mental health was already not the best because I was dealing with severe depression and anxiety, but throughout the relationship, my mental health deteriorated even further. At the lowest points, I was extremely suicidal and had essentially hit rock bottom. This is generally when demons choose to make their move, but I'll touch more on that in a second here. So, that being said, he could have easily preyed upon my mental health at that point, as well as encouraged the relationship to continue so that he would have access to a constant supply of negativity. However, instead of doing so, he chose to encourage me to leave the relationship and facilitate growth so that I would be a healthier and happier person. All the time and effort he put into the task should be proof enough that his intentions are good. This is really no different from the people who say God or angels saved them from addiction, abuse, etc., and help them become healthier, happier people overall. The second reason I don't believe this to be the case kind of requires me to get into the differences of different kinds of entities, so let's go ahead and hop into that. To start off, to me, there is a difference between demons and daemons. Gushin is actually a daemon, not a demon. Daemon, spelled D-A-E-M-O-N, is the Latin word for the ancient Greek word daimon, spelt D-A-I-M-O-N, which originally referred to a lesser deity, guiding spirit, or wise spirit such as the daemons of ancient Greek religion, mythology, and of later Hellenistic religion and philosophy. According to their beliefs, daemons were individuals and could be good or negative depending on the entity. There were some that believed every person had a personal daemon, and some also believed they were possibly the souls of enlightened men acting as guides. Later down the road, the word was corrupted to demon, the word that we know today, and was used as a blanket term for all entities that weren't related to the Abrahamic faiths. There's a lot more to that story, but I'm not really going to get too much into it at this time, as I plan to talk about it more in depth in another video later on. However, I will say that the way demon was used as a blanket term is similar to how the word pagan or paganism was used, as paganism was used as a derogatory blanket term for all the polytheistic faiths at that time. And I also want to clarify, there are certainly entities that fit the term demon, as is used by Christians and in modern times. However, they are different from daemons and other entities such as the Fae, Jinn, etc. Now that I've clarified the differences between demons and daemons, as I mentioned a minute ago, the normal MO of demons is to attack you at your lowest point or to encourage toxic situations so that they can feed off of the negativity long term. Also, I would like to add that generally speaking, demons do not just sit and wait for negative opportunities. They try their best to create them both by influencing situations around you and by trying to get you to fear them. The more fear you have of them, the more access they have to you. Having encountered several actual demons, the way Gushin acts does not point towards him being one. If Gushin was a demon, he would have jumped at every chance of negativity and tried to push me to my breaking point. However, he never did so and therefore does not fit the bill of the term demon. Alright, so I think that about covers everything I wanted to clarify with you guys today. I know that earlier in the video I used the term demon when I was discussing my practices, but that was because I didn't want to go into the differences between demon and daemon just yet. Anyways, I hope this video has helped clarify some things that I didn't really get to discuss in the interview video. I wanted to keep this video sort of brief because several of the topics I plan to go more into other videos at a later date. Have a good one, and hail Gushin!